How does it feel standing this close to greatness? Are you not mesmerized? Do you not have chills running up and down your pretty little spines? His program is the reflection of perfection. His weekly show gets all the attention. And when you're the greatest high school football coach in the state of Minnesota, they got a name for you. They don't call you a great coach. They call you Garrett Mueller. Play his music.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they say there.
Hey, what's up, Tiger Nation? Adam Peterson here. Welcome Tuesdays with Mueller. You see him over here, Coach Mueller with me. I just am balancing my checkbook and writing some deposit slips because we're going to the bank, baby. Let's go. I got 2 words for you, Coach. Thank you. Take us to the bank.
Wow. Hey, a lot of people to thank, right? A lot of people to thank in that collective effort from so many. You know, so you can start with, you know, the unbelievable support and we're going there. We're going there.
Yes. All because of your team's hard work. I love it.
No, but like I said, collective effort, and got to start with, you know, the fans who were amazing last night. You know, traveling up to Hastings and packing the stands up there. Amazing support, you know, behind us, and have been, always are, and have been all this year. And so we had no doubt it would be the same thing. But you know, that was absolutely outstanding, and can't thank everyone enough for the support through the season. Couldn't do it without everybody. And then obviously to the players and coaches, and all of our support staff, you know, who've poured themselves into our program and doing their job at a ridiculously high level, consistently day after day for a long time. You know, not by accident, right? Yeah. So here we are with another opportunity, and that's what we keep talking about, right? Is just earn another week together, and another opportunity to go compete. And we certainly feel like we deserve to be, you know, playing at this point with the program that we have and the season that we put together. So it's great to continue to go out and earn it and show everyone what we can do. So excited for the next opportunity, and going to be a great week.
Oh, I can't wait. Right here. Gosh, it's so cool. So cool.
Right?
You finally made it. We've been to the Final Four before, but in 2014, 2015, when you were offensive coordinator, they still played state semifinal games at neutral territories, correct?
No, actually.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So that was the 2 years. They always played them at the Metrodome. Yeah. And that was the 2 years. That's after the roof had collapsed. So go figure that literally the 2 years that we made back-to-back state semifinals were the 2 years where that stadium didn't exist. And so we missed it. Like, we hit the window perfectly wrong.
Yeah.
And missed both those. So we would have had those two, but fortunately,
hey,
we're
here now though.
We're here now. That's what matters. That's right.
I can't wait to tell everybody how we got there. We record these usually on Sunday. So yesterday was the big day. We played Waseca in Hastings. Beautiful field.
Awesome.
Plenty of bleachers. You talked about the fan support. Absolutely packed on both sides, to be honest with you. But Stewartville brought a huge contingent. I love the pop you guys got in the initial, and I do appreciate that the announcer introduced Waseca first, and that their crowd gave a pop. I think it gave Stewartville an opportunity to say, hey, okay, guys, we're up next. Let's go. Yeah. And then you guys got a pop, and you could just see your players turning around, and holy cow.
Hey,
was that pretty cool?
Yeah. Oh, it was. Yeah, it was cool. You know, like you said, beautiful. For those of you who weren't there, maybe were watching from home. Just an awesome setting, really cool. You know, old. I think there's just a traditional kind of field there, and had been there a long time. They kind of built up that new stadium around that site, and it was actually cool. So we were underneath the home stands there pregame in kind of what would be their locker room area. It's and the original stadium had like these stone like seating, essentially, you could say, like built into, you know, that bowl that sat down in. And so those were like exposed like underneath the stadium. And I think the story is that it was these stone kind of built in stone steps or seating that wrapped all the way around the field way back whenever that was originally put in there, and then they kind of put that stadium over the top of it, but it's existing there. So we use that like as our meeting room. So guys were, sitting up in this stadium seating almost underneath there, and then we had like whiteboards and stuff, and so we got, I had our pregame like meetings, and guys got changed in there, and it was great to be able to go right there, at halftime, really close. We didn't have to haul off to school or anywhere, and really beautiful night, weather, so it wasn't too bad, but it was just nice to have a spot where we could go and focus and collect ourselves at halftime, make adjustments that we needed to make, because obviously it was a tight ball game, and so great to have that space. So just a cool setting. Yeah. And a great place for a high school football game.
Yeah, so let's run this game down from kind of start to finish. We'll go through not each series, but we'll talk about how the game progressed in chronological.
Yeah.
So don't you be getting ahead of me.
Yeah.
Sorry. You
Okay.
remember every single little detail.
Wow.
But we lost the toss. They chose to defer. We got the ball, and I always tell myself, to Matt Hasselbeck, we want the ball and we're going to score. You did just that right out of the gate. We get the opening kickoff, 10-play drive. It goes 75 yards, huge 3rd down and 7 play to Parker Wangan on a slant. Yeah. Then 2nd down and 10 play, Carter Mueller swing pass, picked up a huge gain, and essentially looked like almost the same play.
Yeah,
Carter Mueller swing pass over to the side, got best blocking in the district, in the state from our wide receivers, 13-yard touchdown. Can you tell me about that drive and just setting the tone like, hey, we're here, boys?
And that was huge, right? We talked about kind of what we were going to do if win or lose the coin toss, and defer versus take the ball. And they ended up winning it, so out of our hands. So, always happy to take the ball, right, with our offense. But knew that we had to capitalize on that opportunity. Just knowing we're going up against obviously an outstanding program and a tough team, and in my opinion, the toughest team that we had played throughout during the regular season. We knew we were going to have to go earn it and play our best game of the year to win. And I have a pretty meticulous play script that you put together with different looks and things like that, plays that you like during the week, that you think are going to go well, that give you different looks versus maybe some things they're doing defensively, but then also kind of give me an idea of what their game plan is and how I can use that to adjust my play calling as the game goes on. So we try to get a lot of different formations and sets and motions, and like I said, our best plays and things like that. So you have that script, and sometimes that thing is just kind of rolling and smooth, and sometimes you have to blow it up early. And it was, I would say it was kind of a mix of both. Obviously we were able to march down the field there, and I was able to stay on script for the most part that first drive. But Waseca did kind of throw a wrench into what they were doing defensively, from a schematic standpoint in their alignment versus what we had seen the first time we played them and what we had seen kind of scouting their film throughout the rest of their games this year. And that always makes it really tough, on especially our offensive line, who maybe works against a couple different looks that we think we're going to see during the week, feels really, really good about that plan, right? It's like studying for a math test, for a geometry test, and then a teacher throws down a bunch of algebra in front of you, and it's like, oh my God, what do I do with this? So it was a lot of problem solving on our offensive line's part, on Coach Nat's part, and myself, trying to repiece some things together and figure out how we were going to attack the front that we were getting. From a coverage standpoint, it was pretty similar to what we got last time and what we had anticipated. But they're so good at all 3 levels of their defense, similar to us, right? Their front 3 or 4 D linemen are outstanding. Number 75 is a dude. We back-to-back weeks between Roth for Lourdes and then 75 last night. Not sure of his name, but outstanding players, and that makes it tough then too, right? Because on top of maybe a different alignment or scheme that they're running, you got a world beater over there that you also have to give some extra attention to too, because if you don't, he's going to make life difficult for you. So really proud of our guys to piece through that first drive and then come off and be able to make some adjustments off that, but to end and finish up in the end zone, and get that momentum right away for us, knowing it was going to be a close game, knowing how tough that Gold Rush defense was going to be, to get out to a 1-score lead was huge.
Absolutely. And then the first drive for Waseca, they had a 3rd and long. Their quarterback, it was great coverage, great. Everybody's doing something right. Quarterback just scrambled, picked up a first down. We were able to actually get them into a punting situation. Bad snap. Coach May's boys coming on, tackled them at the 45, got a short
on the
field.
spot.
So you were starting to see all 3 facets, the very first 3, essentially, 2 drives.
All phases, right.
All 3 already in that game. How cool was that?
Yeah, right. To get all and during that series, like I missed a majority of that defensive series on the iPad with Coach Nats because we were problem solving through that defensive front, like I was talking about, and I was kind of, like I would hear a roar or yell, and I'd kind of be peeking over, making sure I kind of have one eye on what's going on in the game, and another one trying to figure out for when we were going to get the ball back. And knew, they were punting and anticipating, we were going to, because they were right around midfield.
Yeah.
Anticipating having to put another long drive together. And then heard that huge roar. And I'm like, oh, do we block it? Because I knew we were bringing some pressure there on that first one. And it's like, no, muff, bad snap or something like that. And then it had guys there, though, and made a great play on it. So just to keep that momentum rolling, like you said, and all 3 phases were great to start the game on point. All 3 units. Yep.
Yeah. So moving on to the second series for each team, we got to a 3rd down and 9 situation. I thought Parker Wong and absolutely got mugged going across the middle, missed pass interference. It is what it is. We ended up going for it on 4th down. Didn't get it. Then it comes to theirs. Again, our defense holds strong, which is going to be kind of a recurring theme of this. Thankfully, we got a running into the punter. I had to watch that back. I saw it live, and I was like, "Ooh, that punter went down hard." However, if you watch it back, our guy not only did he get held by number 44, then he got shoved into the kicker. So I was glad that they only gave us the 5 yards.
Yeah,
we got
and I think that
back.
was part of it. Yeah, was that we were kind of getting blocked into it because it was not just an incidental. It was not a soft bump into. It was a complete take the guy out. So got fortunate call. Yep.
Thank goodness, because then on the ensuing drive, you would put together another nice series, if you will. We got moved back. I can't remember if it was a holding penalty or what, but it was 2nd down and 16, 2 straight big catches by Henry Cheddar. I think he sat down and one there were a couple catches that Henry Cheddar made that were just absolutely incredible. Aiden Helder, big 1st down run I have here, 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. When it happened, I said, how did he come so open? Caleb Bancroft, touchdown catch. He ran like an in and then skirted back out to the sideline, and Henry Cheddar carried about 3 defensive players to the middle with him. Bancroft, I know he got his first touchdown in the rain against Red Wing playoffs, I believe.
Yep.
This one, biggest touchdown of his career. I know he's only had 2, but biggest touchdown of his entire life. It was big. It put us up, and then you went for 2 and got me a little nervous, but Parker Wong and doing Parker Wong and things got into the end zone somehow, some way, said, hey, I'm not going to go with the option here to the right. I'm going to cut it all the way back and somehow still make it in. You go up 15-0. Can you tell me about some of those plays? I said 2 big Cheddar 2 big catches by Cheddar to get us the 1st down after 2nd and 16. Helder with a big run, and then the play to Bancroft.
Yeah. So we had, I think that first one was just kind of a snag concept we talk about, and kind of based on, again, structure of their pass coverage stuff with where we had some room. They have some pretty outstanding athletes in the back end there. Number 3 and number 7 were as good as, anybody we played all year long. And they were kind of following Parker around a lot of the game to try to take him away. And we thought that might be the case based on the game that Parker had against him, against them the last time. Right. So we knew we were going to have to lean on some other guys probably in the passing game a little bit. Unfortunately, that's something that we're more than comfortable with the guys that we got, and everyone's stepped up. We talked about the balance that we have, and anyone can go make a big play for you whenever we need them. And Hank probably, as much as anybody last night, stepping up and having a huge game and some big catches and big moments. And you talk about that series was huge, just having not finish the drive before when we thought we could have had another touchdown on the board and wanting to get one more. Obviously a 2-score game is such a massive difference compared to a 1-score game with our defense. So that big catch, and then he had the screen pass underneath where we made a guy miss. Yep, coming underneath. That's kind of been probably his best play all year long.
Oh yeah.
He's probably good for one of those a game just about. Yeah. And so we're able to convert on those 3rd downs and keep that drive alive. And then on that touchdown pass. So we have not had a chance to review this stuff, obviously, with the players yet. We talked about this as a Sunday, and we'll go over this stuff on Monday. But let's just say we are fortunate to have really good athletes on the field that just know how to go out and make plays when they have to go out and make a play. Whether or not the play may or may not go as planned or maybe as executed the way it was planned to be executed.
Sure.
All right, we'll just say that. But that happens all the time. Like people probably don't realize how, and again, against good teams and stuff like that, they force guys to go make plays. And that's the thing, I always want to make sure we give credit where credit's due with the players on the field, because they're the ones that have to go out and execute it. And so, between that touchdown pass to CB and that 2-point, the 2-point play may or may not have been given the green light. Let's just say on that one, and so it is what it is. We'll take it. Guys went and made plays. Aiden on the touchdown pass to CB, great job. We had a little bit of pressure. It was a boot. This is a boot concept, and Aiden was trying to boot back to the field, and they had a little bit of pressure come from our front side, so he had to step up and stay in the pocket there, and just did a great job kind of moving his eyes, working through his progression. And CB kind of intended to be on the back side of that play, not necessarily one of his first options. And again, having not gone through it with him yet or not, whatever CB saw to run that, and whatever, and Aiden to find him then on top of that, and then enough protection, up front. There was actually a huge blitz pickup there by Dylan Scanlon on that play.
Okay.
That if you go back and watch it, I think it was on number 75, to believe it or not. To give Aiden that extra time he needed to work his way to the backside of that formation, and then those guys just going and making a play and put it in the end zone. And then on that 2-point conversion, I think Waseca probably had every one of our eligible guys on that play like double covered. There was 2 guys on Tegan and 2 guys on Hank, and 2 guys essentially for Parker Wangan. It was like 3 on 6 out there. And, Parker Wangan
still like our odds,
just doing Wangan things, right, and making the guy miss and ending in the end zone. So it's good. It's all good. Wow. We'll take it. And 2 scores was huge then going into half. And make sure we had that momentum.
What Coach Mueller meant with all of that stuff is exactly the way he drew it up. Exactly the way you
right. Exactly.
So Waseca would get into the next series. We're up 15-0. Now Waseca would get into a 3rd down and 15 situation. Quarterback scrambled to the Waseca sideline, and if you watch that, the entire half of the field is completely open for him, and he's got some legs on him. We saw him scramble on that first drive. Grayson Schneider essentially runs him down, grabs him with one arm, and then
pulls
buries him.
Tough.
It was incredible. I was like, how did he catch him? Grayson Schneider's a big man running fast.
We see that week after week, right? Big cat, making big plays out there on the edge. And the speed and athleticism from him and everybody else to go make plays in space is huge, right? Where they feel like they got angles or leverage and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden we are able to close that space extremely quickly. And that another case in point there with Grayson wrangling that guy in. And he's a tough nut, that kid, and I give him a lot of credit for sticking in there, because he took some shots from us last night and kept swinging. And but that was a huge play by him to limit the explosive for them in that situation.
So they would have to punt. We get down to, you got to tell me about this. We get down to a 3rd down and 5 situation. Carter Miller gets a swing pass, and for the first time in his entire life, in 18 years, he gets an unnecessary roughness call. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but running the ball gets an unnecessary roughness call on the sideline. Did you get an explanation for that?
Yeah, and no?
We're not trying to get the refs a hard time, but
no,
poor Carter
Miller.
Well,
so what the ref thought he saw was, so that guy kind of wrapped Carter up and took him out of bounds, and Carter thought he was hugging him a little longer than he should have hugged him.
Sure.
And so Carter just kind of gave him the all right.
Yeah.
And the ref didn't like the push away. So
anyway,
one of the softer Okay.
So. I've seen Zippy almost send people to the hospital for less.
Got a lot worse.
Right?
Got a lot worse.
So unfortunately, we get the first down, but it moves us back. The middle linebacker made an incredible play, picked off Helder for only the second time of the season. He was trying to hit Malone coming across the middle. I believe Cheddar was sitting down on the outside, but you got to give credit because that middle linebacker looked like he was going to shoot the A gap on a blitz. He ended up peeling back and covering the flat. So and
just kind of lost
timed
him.
it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just kind of lost him in the rollout. And I think Aiden thought he had both guys open and took the first one there and didn't see that guy coming. So good play by him.
I mean, it was just so fast paced and, incredible play by the linebacker. But old Parker Wangan doing Parker Wangan things, comes back, picks one off. We saw him on defense for the first time in a long time. And boy, that was nice. We have a play to talk about later in, I think, the second half where he ran the quarterback down and made a huge tackle, I believe behind the line. But this one, he went up to the jump ball and picked it off. I remember on the car ride home, Brooklyn said, who was that guy that jumped up over everybody and picked it off at the end of the first half? I said, that guy's name is Parker Wangan, and he's real good.
He's real good at playing football.
Real good. 15 going into the half, though.
Yeah, and huge play. It's been nice to get him back out there in defense, and as the year's gone on, probably with a lot of our matchups, we try to get as many guys on the field and playing different roles and things like that, and just frankly didn't need them as much defensively, because we got a lot of great players and working through some injuries and things like that this year. He, wasn't fully healthy all the games, and so just wanted to make sure he stayed healthy for games like last night. And when we needed him back there now, the last 2 weeks he played a good handful of reps here in the section playoffs against Lake City and against Lourdes, and kind of gradually been getting him ready to be on the field for a lot of as many plays as we can have him on the field, because we see the difference that he makes, when he's out there. And case in point there with that one right before half, to go up over the top and snatch that ball away from everybody. You feel pretty good, with our front seven that we got. And when teams try to take a shot, you got him roaming, sideline to sideline back there. He's going to go get over the top of just about anything. And so, outstanding play by him to, keep that 0 on the board and keep the momentum in our hands going into half.
You go in to halftime 15-0, knowing that Waseca was coming out in the second half, getting the ball. You talked about that 2-score lead, just so huge, especially a 1-score lead, knowing they're getting the ball coming out of the second half. A little bit more nerve-wracking, but definitely feeling good. They get a big kickoff return out of the half. They get down pretty deep in our own territory, I think. 3rd down and 8. What do I have here? 3rd down and 8. They had a pass completion. They missed the running back jumping forward, and all of our guys actually pointed at it. Caleb Jansen, everybody's like, saw it. But anyway, Isaac Larson had a huge play. He broke on a ball. It was to our sideline. At first, I thought he caught it. And it was
close
a
to a catch fumble, but punched it out.
But Isaac Larson made a great play. And then the 4th down play, I felt my heart stop for about 17 seconds, because that's what it felt like. The ball was in the air. The quarterback trying to throw back. Grayson Schneider tips it up.
Double doink.
In the air. I was like, oh my gosh, it's in the air for so long. And then I think Wangan almost got it, tipped out of his hands, and then Cheddar, I'm just yelling like, knock it down, because we're like at the 3-yard line.
Get the ball on the ground, please.
But Henry Cheddar loves how shiny the turnover chain is, and he picks it off. But either way, our defense came up huge, deep in our own territory.
Yeah, it was another huge.
How scared were you? Did you see that play, or were you in your?
No, I was fully engaged for that one, and it was the same thing. Your heart kind of stops, because it's like when that ball shoots up, it's it's a jump ball for anybody. You just don't know who's going to be in the right place at the right time in that moment. And Parker was the first one there. He had, like, when you watch the end zone, he had like 3 or 4 Waseca dudes just like ready to like smoke him as he's going up in the air. And so I'm sure he had an eye for his well-being there a little bit. And so just kind of mistimed the ball coming down, and it tips off of him. And then, sure enough, Hank's kind of swooping in from the side and falls right in his hands. And obviously, the ball, whatever, hitting it to the ground and stuff like that would have been more ideal in that situation. But as a player, it's so hard in the moment, to not just get possession of the ball. Because ultimately, sometimes you go up to try to knock it down, and then it tips again, we've seen bad stuff happen when guys are trying to do the right thing, and so fortunately, he was able to corral that thing, and ultimately right there is we just want to get the ball back into our offense's hands, and we did that, and back in a little bit of a hole there, in a tight spot, but made a play, and outstanding defense, the whole night. Felt like we were back in, we played inside, our own 20-30 yard line, I think the whole third quarter. And so it was just like everything we could do to just hang on, and we'll get it out of here eventually. But defense was absolutely amazing.
Got us the ball back. I'll run through the next few series just to kind of keep this going. 15-0, our first series. Helder had a great run. I was like, why is he getting out of bounds so fast on that run? But luckily you pulled the old tush push and got us a first down. Quarterback.
We got it anyway.
Maybe only the second or third time I've ever seen us go under center besides the victory formation this year, but got us a first down. Great screen to Miller. Great screen pass to Miller. Unfortunately, I felt like the Waseca guy turned his back to our blockers. If you watch it again, so we did get flagged. It ended up putting us back. We ended up fumbling. 13-yard line.
Tough.
Our defense stepping up again. Wangen, I talked about him coming up from the safety position when Waseca was inside the 15-yard line, came up to tackle the quarterback. The very next play was the fumble. I don't know who caused it, but great job there. There's Teagan?
Yeah, he came around. It was crazy because he had kind of come up to set the edge, and the guy kind of cut back, and we had pursuit there, and then guys kind of started to wrap him up, and as he's falling forward, Teagan kind of slips back around, and literally as the guy's falling down, just so his nickname is Mitts, right? So he sticks a mitt in there as the guy's just falling down, and it's like just a quick little boop. And gets a little hand on that ball, and it must have been a bang bang because he's falling to the ground. But then you can clearly see when he hits the ground, the ball is already kind of bouncing away from underneath him. But you can see Teagan's hand kind of come in there and just poke that thing at the very last second and get it out and fell on it. So I think they must have had three turnovers inside the 30 yard line.
Yep. Because then what happens? We got the ball back. We ended up punting. Then how about Blake Turner? That play is like prototypical fumble when he comes around to tackle him and that arm comes through, rips it out. Schneider picks it up. Does maybe I don't know if we want to glaze that one, Schneider. I think we just keep it up 15.
That will,
thank goodness Justice Dino jumped on it because I think that ball almost went on the ground. Scared me again. But then the next play or next drive, put it out of reach. Just fantastic drive. And I'll never question your play calling because you've forgotten more about play calling than I'll ever know. But what I'll say is that drive, it just looked like Stewartville was out there again. Because Waseca took us out of the game and we were having trouble finding that rhythm, that drive was like that's Stewartville football. Aiden Helder took control. Aiden Helder to Parker Wangen. It was great. You talked about players making plays. He's rolling out to the right, and he does one of these, telling Wangen, move back towards the middle.
Keep working into that window.
Incredible. So he was telling him, move this way. Wangen does it, finds him. Then what happens next? I believe Miller almost broke one for a big one. We got a flag on that, but it doesn't matter. Second and long, Wangen, little inside pitch counter was an incredible play. He got to our sideline, 20-yard pickup. Then Cheddar, I said, big, ridiculous catch on the slant. I swear it never touched his palm. He reached
that other guy had a hand in it too.
It was, I couldn't believe it, the catch that he had. Then we go 3rd and 6, and this is where everybody should just do this to Coach Mueller. 3rd and 6, Aiden Helder starts backing up. He's got about 25 Waseca guys rushing him with nobody blocking. Why? Because they all let him go. Because Blake Turner gets hit for a perfectly timed screen pass, takes it down, the old Tiger King running down the middle, and then you use 2 timeouts. We said, hey, a lot of people around me hey, we should run the ball, start milking the clock. And I said, whoa, hold on. Why are you calling timeouts? Why? Because if we score here, this game is probably done. So you got to make sure the right play calls is in. You got to make sure the right guys are, the guys are going in the right direction. 2 straight timeouts followed by 2. Cheddar almost had the touchdown off the first timeout. The guy, number 4, I think it was, or somebody just made
number 3. They're really good safety. Saw it late.
A ridiculous play.
I don't know that there's anyone else on their team that could have covered that ground that quickly and get a hand on the ball. And I don't think Hank even knew that he was coming, because we had ran that in practice all week and it was wide open, and Aiden actually had a little pressure and had to kind of flip it out to him and couldn't like put it on him like firm.
Yeah.
And yeah, that guy just kind of came in. I think Hank thought he had an easy one there, and that guy made just a great play on it, got a hand in there and knocked it down. But I thought, as soon as that ball's out, I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
And oh, that was, so I was like, now we need another one. But
yeah, you got it though.
Got it though.
We talked about incredible catches by Hank the Tank. The one on that particular drive I thought was his best catch. This one was probably the second one. He had to catch it, I think, back
kind
hip
of on the
pocket.
back hip.
Yeah.
And Aiden put it on a great spot. So we had put knowing, so they played a lot of man coverage down there inside the red zone with their athletes, and so we knew we were going to get some one-on-ones. And so we had a couple different concepts that we like with trying to motion guys and move them around to create some space and get them open. So we had a play in for Parker where we kind of motion them into the line of scrimmage, into the formation, and then have them kind of retrace back out, hoping that the guy that's manned up on him will kind of chase him in and then get picked off a little bit, or have a hard time chasing him back out then at the snap. Thinking, because we earlier in the game we had run you had mentioned where he kind of got hit early on the back, where we motioned him into, and he goes across the formation on a mesh concept. And so trying to play off of that, where he motions in, but then returns back out the opposite way. And so we liked that down in the goal line there. So called that play, and sure enough, obviously they game plan a ton for Parker, and knew that he's always a threat and a big target for us in the red zone. Both guys, the safety that was covering Hank and the corner that was on Parker, jumped Parker instead. And so all week we were throwing that ball to Parker, and just a great job by Hank staying alive on the play, and Aiden working to what essentially is the second option in that, to Henry, because he ended up coming wide open, but then he had such a tight window because the linebackers flying out from the middle of the field. And so he had to fit it on Henry before the linebacker could step underneath that thing. And just based on where Henry was on the field, Aiden had to throw it on that back hip, because he throws it out in front of him, that linebacker's either picking it off or for sure getting a hand on it and knocking it down. So we talked to our receiver, they work all the time catching the bad balls, right? Because there's not always going to be a perfect one on your chest. A lot of times it's going to have to be wherever. And so Aiden just putting the ball in a great spot, Henry flipping those hips, and securing that thing and putting the nail in the coffin for us. So outstanding play all around.
So huge. And like I said, you get that touchdown, it feels like game over at that point, especially with the way our defense is played. It was game over, 22-0, and just phenomenal. Awesome to see the run in, and they lifted you up off the ground. I thought that was you, Rudy.
Say I'm not. I lose a little weight during the football season. A little not enough sleep. Not enough sleep or eating, or a little stress. So I probably not much for those guys to throw me around at this point. So one of them grabbed me and threw me up there. But no, that's awesome. That's the best part, is celebrating with those guys, because we talk a lot about just the people that we do it with and how important and that part of it is for us, is earning another week together, and obviously winning football games and getting awards and all that stuff's awesome, but ultimately the people that we do it with is our favorite part. And so to earn another week with those guys is pretty special, and can't wait for the opportunity.
Yeah. So when you were just talking there on the mesh concept with Parker Wong and going across the middle and then retracing it back to a red zone play where you drew him in and pulled him back out, all I could hear in my mind is Garrett Mueller's playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers here. Just incredible. And as much as I love to talk about your play calling and the offense and all the points you've put up, this game I feel like was won by a certain unit.
Oh, there it is.
And I don't know how you've lost weight this season with the number
That's
of
probably
donuts.
True.
6 donuts they've done. 6 of them. I think that's their 6th one this season.
Well, and Alex and the entire defensive staff, just as good of a job as anyone in the state. You talk about, I brag it about all the time, how good our staff is, and you see it come to light there with the performances with our guys, being able to implement the game plan and executing from just a technical standpoint in their jobs every single play, flying around on the field, and making plays, whenever we needed it. No one panicked, when our backs were up against it, down in the red zone. They just buckled down and continued to do their job and found a way to win. So it's like you said, I probably need to stress a little less, knowing that we got the gold rush out there behind us. But defense wins championships, as they say, and we got a pretty darn good one in our corner. So excited to be rolling with them here the next 2 weeks.
That defense has been just unstoppable this year. And like you said, to be put in situations inside your 15-yard line, inside the 40-yard line, like multiple times where the drives are starting deep in our own territory, and to not only stop them, but a lot of times get the turnover back, because momentum is another big thing. It's like not just that we fumbled or that they got the ball inside the 15. It's that feeling of like, oh, we're going to get back in this. And then Tegan Malone punches it out, or Blake Turner or Parker Wangan intercepts it as they're going down the field. It's that momentum change. I believe 5 turnovers is what
most of the year,
right?
5 turnovers, which was a high for the year, right? And to do that against the best team that we line up against in the state quarterfinal game, couldn't ask for a better performance all around from those guys. So they'll our success here the next week, and then hopefully 2 weeks is gonna be riding on that for sure.
2 questions about this. Maybe you know it. I definitely don't know the answer to it. It's a 2-part question. Number 1, does the state give out a defensive coordinator of the year award? And number 2, will they send it right to Alex Haynes' house, or do they send it to the school?
And he has to pick it up, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't know. We'll see. He certainly deserves it, whether or not he gets it or not. But outstanding job, and we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, speaking of coaches, the catch heard round the world. Has anybody talked about Alan May's catch on the sideline and the 10-meter fly, or whatever? What do you call it?
Did you see the
first 10 yards, he went from 0 to 25 miles an hour pretty fast.
Did you see the one Joey Strike had last week?
No. I saw Joey Strike catch one from Aiden Helder in pregame that was pretty impressive. So
they're giving each other crap about whose was better, because we had them back-to-back week and who had the better return.
I know you got a good social media presence. You got to put that up.
Right. We probably should put that on there, and
not like you got other things going on
and promote that a little bit. No, we were laughing about that last night when we were watching the game back when we got back home about whose pick was better on the sideline. So we'll see. We got this week now for one of them to one up the other. So
Hot Rod,
never know.
Come on, Hot Rod.
Yeah. One of those other guys maybe got to step in there and get their turn.
We talked about the defense last season, moving on. Last season, you and I did probably one of my favorite episodes of all time on Tiger Nation and beyond was our fantasy football draft. And I think that if we reran that, Aiden Helder would be a pretty darn high pick, if you ask me. The guy is incredible, an incredible quarterback. 17 to 23, 194 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 to Miller, 1 to Bancroft, 1 to Hank the Tank. 38 touchdowns on the season, which ties the school record with Aaron Quant. Aaron Quant, probably the most prolific, statistically the most prolific quarterback passing. I think he also quarterback for 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, as a starter. So he did have a longer career, but in terms of season, Aiden Helder's been fantastic. And what I love is all those people, like you talk a lot about what you can do as a coach and putting the guys in the position where it's not only best for them to succeed, but also the best for the team. Last year, you had probably one of the more difficult decisions that you've had to make as a head coach and probably as an offensive coordinator going back several years. Who's going to start at quarterback? Aiden Helder and Parker Wangan are battling it out last year in 2022, and they were both fantastic quarterbacks. We bragged all the time. We have the best backup quarterback in the entire state with Parker Wangan. Well, you move Parker Wangan out to wide receiver. Aiden Helder grows into his own at quarterback. Aiden Helder is one of the best quarterbacks in the state right now. 38 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I believe he's like 72% completion rate. The guy runs the show better than almost anybody I've seen in the last 9. I didn't get a chance to watch Aaron Quant. I came into this program in 2015, so AJ Quant was my first quarterback. But in the conversation, is Aiden Helder for best quarterback to ever come through Stewartville. Then on top of that, your decision to move to Parker Wangan to wide receiver. PJ LaFleck likes it. You know what I mean? Like these college coaches love it. I mean, to talk about the great decision and it panning out, just trust the process, guys.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing.
Well, sure, right. And hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah.
And so it's easy now to look back and be like, "Oh yeah, that was a great decision." But
Yeah,
in the moment, you don't know how
Sure.
things are necessarily going to work out and things like that. But we obviously had a vision of what it could be and made the best decision that we could in the moment with the information that we had. And both guys have thrived, obviously, in their roles in the last 2 years since. I think the biggest credit just goes to both of those guys in the people that they are, right, and how they handle themselves as student athletes, and being extremely mature, and just wanting the best for the program and whatever they needed to do to help the team win. And that continues to be those guys' mindset, moving forward, and been a big part of why we won a lot of football games, and we're fortunate to have a lot of guys right with that mindset and whatever they can do to help the team win and be successful. And obviously Aiden's had an outstanding career the last 2 years, and very fortunate to have him and all of his just not just physical talents, but just mentally, and his football IQ, and as much of a coach out on the field as anybody, and he does a great job seeing things and that we don't necessarily even see, just because we're not out there lined up, and he's got as good of a feel for it as we do. And so it's a huge asset for me, as a play caller and a coach, to have him out there and communicating with me and providing feedback. And it's it's a team effort, for sure, in our success there. And Parker then just letting his, athleticism shine through, playing in all these different spots in the field between kicking and as a receiver, and you see him carry the ball a little bit. We got him, he's thrown a touchdown and thrown some passes this year, and then defensively now too, what he can do in the back end. So it just opens up it's endless possibilities for him in so many different phases now as well. So it's made our team better. And that's the most important thing, and very proud of those guys for the growth and improvement that they've had over time. And obviously will be a big part of our success moving forward here, and what we got to do to get the job done in the semifinals.
Yeah, super excited. Talking about Aiden Helder, maybe we have some news to break, maybe we don't. Before we get to that, let me vent a little bit, and then you can probably take the high road, because this is so end of season awards have come out, or started to come out, district awards. I'm only seeing those what's on social media. Stewartville has yet to release them, so we'll see if we can get some inside scoop from Coach Mueller in a little bit. But what I have to say is, I don't know how. So two things. I feel like I don't know what else you need to do. So I want to preface this saying, I think it goes on record with how much respect and appreciation we have for the job that the person that did win the Coach of the Year award got. Like that is not what this is about. Absolute ton of respect. Has done a great job with the program. However, we have a head coach that's run off 3 straight regular seasons undefeated. You're number one in the entire state. There hasn't been a game within 2 touchdowns. And when I get done with this, you'll have to tell me how this award is actually voted on, because is it a coach, like all the coaches in our district vote on it? Is just yes or no? Do all the coaches in the district vote on these awards? Is that how it's tabulated? I mean,
yes, for some things it is, some things it isn't, but
okay. But what I'm wondering is it because we're just rolling these teams by 50 and 60 points that they're going to take it out against us? I mean, we weren't in 1-point games against Pine Island and Lake City. Like we didn't lose to Dover Iota. Like we beat this team twice in a season, once for the district championship, one for the section championship. What more does my guy have to do to say he's not only the best district coach in our district, he's the greatest football coach in the state of Minnesota? You've heard it in time and time again. So that just irritates me, first of all. And I think it's really the LeBron effect. Over how many years when he was on the Cavs and the Heat, and even he was obviously the best player in the league for 10 years, but everybody's looking like, well, he won the MVP the last 2 years in a row. We should give it to somebody else. Let's spread the wealth. No, you give it to the person that's the most deserving of the award. And if I got a vote, it's definitely going your way. The second thing is, with all due respect to the defensive player of the year, I would have definitely given lineman of the year. Absolutely. Caleb Jansen is probably one of not only the best defensive player on the best defensive unit in the entire state of Minnesota, in 9 years of calling games, and I've watched a lot of games, Caleb Jansen is one of the most dominant defensive. Don't look at stats. And with all due respect to the Parker Clavetters and the Colton Parkers and, those guys that I've seen and they've gotten awards, and Caleb Jansen is different. Caleb Jansen is a beast. He runs the show out there. He controls it. He sets the tone. He's made plays that nobody else in our district can make. And is he being punished because he's only played the second half twice? It's like the Owen Sickick effect now, right? Well, he hasn't played the second half for like 6 games this year. So don't look at the stats. Like, yeah, he could have racked up 18 tackles for loss if he played the whole game against Red Wing and Lake City and whatever too. I apologize for going on this rant, but I wanted to throw out there my support for Coach Mueller and Zippy. Those 2 guys, I only know those 2 awards right now because the rest haven't been sent out. But I want you to know how much I appreciate what you've done, how much I think you deserve it. But this is about the culture. This is your culture. I heard, God, I don't want to misquote this. I'm trying to think if it was Saban or some college coach just said it. My guys aren't out there for recognition. They're out there for contributions. And that's where you're at right now. To me, I want it though. I want it for you guys because I know how hard you work. But I know your culture. You just said it. These guys play for one another. They don't worry as much about the awards. They worry about this right here, right? They worry about taking their team to the state and taking the Tiger Nation with them. You've taken us with you, and I appreciate the heck out of it, right?
Well,
but it bugs me when you don't get the credit you deserve. But you're there for the contribution, not the recognition. Can you talk to me a little bit about and calm me down and say, Adam, knock it off. Quit being a little baby.
We're ultimately we're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
So I think that was a great quote. It's about the contribution and what they can do to the team, and that truly is, I think, the mindset of our program and why we have been as successful as we have, right? Because we have a bunch of unselfish dudes that couldn't care less about who scores a touchdown on a Friday or who wins what award. Ultimately, it's about going and being successful and getting the win as a team and as a unit. And sometimes, the offense plays great and sometimes the defense plays great and special team, like all different phases and players are going to have good nights and bad nights and everything. But collectively as a whole, right, the Stewartville Tiger football team has won every game that we've lined up to play this year. And that's the only stat ultimately that matters. And hopefully we got one more award, team award that we can bring home here before it's all said and done. And then, I certainly appreciate the passion and the support from you and from everybody else. And, not going to dwell on my awards or anything like that because I don't need them and have had plenty of recognition and it's fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. So, but yeah, and certainly, Caleb is more than deserving for any awards coming his way. Like you said, I think, a guy who is the best defensive player on the best defense in the state in your division probably deserves that recognition. And there are great players in our league and that are more than deserving for those awards as well. And if the people that choose that award see otherwise, so be it. We know, when we watch our games, I think that's the big thing, right? Is when you watch the game, whatever team we're lined up against, I truly feel like Caleb has been the best defensive player on the field week in and week out. And so, he'll never, complain about that or say that because he's the ultimate team guy and as humble of a player as I've ever coached. And again, could care less about an individual award because he and his teammates are hungry for the big team award at the end of the year here. So that we have an opportunity, hopefully, to go get. And we got 2 games left to get there, and a big one this Friday. And so that's obviously going to be our focus here now moving forward is to get ready for the next one here at US Bank Stadium. So excited for and looking forward to that one.
You want to talk about something that you could probably take home and sleep just fine. I saw the tweet and I actually liked it because I love the sentiment because it shows your players have your backs. Caleb Jansen had tweeted out at you, my coach of the year, which that's what you want. You want your players saying that. You had guys that were repeating that. Just the respect you have from your team and the love that they have for you as their head coach probably just as much, if not more, than any plaque that you're going to put up. And so that was really cool, I thought. And as a leader of the team, for him to put that out there and say, hey, I don't care what all of them say, you're my coach of the year. And I love that. Like you said, Saturday, 2 p.m., I think is the game time, if I'm not mistaken.
2 o'clock Saturday.
Dilworth, Glendon, Felton Rebels out of the Mid-Northwest District. They're ranked number 5 in the state of Minnesota for Class 3A. Anthony Soderberg, I believe, is the head coach there. They come in with a record of like 10-1, maybe.
They had
like that.
They
beat Albany.
First game of the year against Barnesville, who is, I believe, in the 2A semifinals, state champs last year, and a good team. So that's it's a team. It's really cool, right? You get to this point of the year. And, like last year, had opportunity to go line up against Hutch, right? Probably the best 4A program.
You don't even have to
in
say
the history
4A,
of Minnesota football, right? The most, the winningest program, whatever. And so you get to go line up against these great programs that you've maybe never seen before. And it's a great opportunity. And DGF, is a perennial powerhouse, I guess you could say, I think, in 3A football, or has been, at least in the recent history. Played in the state championship game last year. It actually was winning a majority of the state championship game last year against New London Spicer. And then some of you have seen that last play of the game where they had the Hail Mary and the glaze to the teammate, and then score on the last play of the game to win it. So heartbreaker for them last year. And so they're obviously hungry to get back and have another opportunity to play in that championship game. So it's going to be a tough matchup for us this week against a team that, unfamiliar with, have never lined up and played against, but know that they've had a lot of success and got a lot of good football players. Obviously, they wouldn't be in the state semifinals if they didn't. Right. And so they'll present a unique set of challenges for us to prepare for. Offensively, they are a heavy run first offense. They run kind of a version of like a wishbone or a power T offense where it's double tight ends and 3 running backs in the backfield, and they're just trying to get 3 or 4 every play, and they have a few other sets that they will use to get some athletes out in space on the edge with some jet motions and things like that, and we'll throw a play action pass in there every once in a while, but defensively it's going to be getting ready to defend the run. And then defensively for them, they've had a great defense all year. They have a handful of shutouts themselves. I don't think they've given up more than 14 or something like that, 2 scores in any game this year. Wow. So they look in the limited film that I've seen this far, pretty good up front, good defensive line. They have a really good inside linebacker that runs well, tackles well, makes a lot of plays from that position, and then a decent handful of skilled athletes in the back end. So, again, teams at this level, they're going to be good in all phases, good in all levels. They're not going to have like weak spots or anything like that. So it's going to come down to us being able to go out and execute, our game at a high level, and going to have to go compete to win. So excited for the opportunity. Couldn't ask for a cooler place to go right there, right?
Yeah.
One of these to go do it in. And it's just going to be a special opportunity, for our program and our guys. What a cool thing for a high school football player to go, get to play at a stadium like that. That's going to be a memory they're going to have for a lifetime. So just very proud of everyone for putting us in the opportunity to go do this thing, and going to enjoy the ride and every minute of it.
We are like 16 hours out of your your state quarterfinal win. I have to ask, how many hours of sleep do you get knowing all that already? Do you get like 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night? I mean, you can't have much.
Well, it's hard because like you come, that's is an hour and 15, 20-minute drive. And, so we don't pull out of there until 9:30 or something like that, 9:30 or 10. And you're riding a pretty good high, coming off that thing. So, we always get together the coaching staff does to watch the game. And so it's hard to just like close the book on that very quickly. So, we stay up and enjoy that. And then you're kind of back up early this morning, and I had sent the Coach Soderberg an email late last night just about film exchange stuff, and then felt bad this morning. He had, they played Friday night, so
That's right.
he probably wasn't up late, last night, and I woke up this morning after a couple hours of sleep and saw it. He had emailed me at like 7 a.m. like, hey, yeah, ready to, I just sent the tape, the exchange on Huddle, just waiting on you guys, and I was like, oh shit. Like, I gotta, get it to him, because then it's like clockwork. I got coaches, hey, we got film yet? What, then it's already starting that, that process. What do we got to do today? What's the first, what's the next step, and things like that. So you immediately have to flip the script and move on to the next. And so we're rolling here, getting ready for next Saturday.
Well, we're really proud of you guys. Can't thank you enough. Again, what you guys have brought us on, this incredible ride. We saw it last year with football, both basketball teams.
Yeah.
It doesn't get old, for me at least, being on this ride with you
That's
guys
right.
and like going to state and representing our town and the school and everything the way you have. Such incredible way. 22-0 win over Waseca. That's going to put us up against Dilworth, Glendon, Felton Rebels. That's Saturday, 2:00. I think they're working on fan buses, but 2:00. Get there early. We'll figure out tickets and everything. Don't worry about that. I'm sure it'll be shared pretty easily.
Yeah.
But we got to let this guy, you just heard how many things he's trying to juggle at once. Film with their coach, our team, busing, pregame, like
logistics,
recording a
podcast
or recording a weekly show with some crazy nut for an hour or whatever it's been. So we got to let this guy go, because I do not want to be the reason that he has any less time than he already needs. He needs some sleep. He needs to get work and then be with the boys for one more week, which is all what it's all about. Right.
Yep. You bet, man.
Oh, man, I'm going to let Coach Mueller go. I'm going to enjoy this donut.
Yeah.
That the Gold Rush provided me. I'm gonna wash it down with some tears of Bryce Olson. Right? And then I'm gonna be ready for this Saturday, 2 p.m. baby. Stewartville coming to US Bank Stadium.
Let's go, dude.
Your grandmother's house down. Let's go. For Coach Mueller. When you're the greatest coach, not only in the state of Minnesota, but definitely our district, they got a name for you. They don't call you a great coach. I almost spit out my donut. They call you great Garrett Mueller. I'm Adam Peterson. Tune in next time for Tuesdays with Mueller after our game at US Bank Stadium against DGF. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for all the support. We'll see you up in the cities, baby. Let's